Is brought to you by the brand you trust the most, Jolly's Pharmacy Limited, leading the way in healthcare.
Introducing Jolly's Pharmacy, brand new website www.jollys.dm. It's your time to jump the line. Shop now at jollys.dm and have your items delivered in the comfort of your office. No more standing in line. No need to use your lunch hour to shop. Hassle-free shopping, safe and secure. Jollys.dm features rush delivery 1 hour, in-store pickup, regular delivery 5 p.m. Cut-off time 4 p.m. It's your time to jump the line. Visit us at www.jollys.dm. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
Jolly's Pharmacy presents a new and innovative radio program, Health Vibes. Every Wednesday morning on Q95 FM. Health Vibes, hosted by Carlton Lando and Pearl Fontaine Butler. Health Vibes from 10:15 to 11 a.m. It's not just your average talk show. It's appealing and educational with a bit of humor. Real vibes on your health. Now that's the vibe. Health Vibes on Q95 every Wednesday from 10:15 to 11 a.m. with Pearl and Carlton. Tune in.
Welcome to Health Vibes, Dominica's most foremost program on health, medicine, nutrition, and wellness, featuring the latest news on conventional and alternative medicine and healthcare. Now, here's your host, Carlton Lando, and co-host, Pearl Fontaine Butler.
A pleasant good morning to you, Dominica. We are so happy that you have joined us on another episode of Health Vibes, your very own health talk show brought to you by the brand you trust the most, Jolly's Pharmacy. We are so happy that we are alive and well. As you know, our platform is health and wellness, and it's just a blessing to be alive and to be well today. Pearl, you look wonderful in your navy blue and white blazer, looking all British on me this morning.
Thank you, Carlton. Thank you. Listen, it seems like every Wednesday I have to get a compliment from Carlton, but I take them on. Thank you very much. And good morning to you, Dominica. Good morning. Thank you for tuning in today. I want to send a shout out to Jennifer from Tarish Pit. She met me yesterday.
Oh,
she
I know
said,
Jennifer.
I'm going to listen tomorrow. And then I have some family who came in from London this past weekend, and they said every time they have a restaurant in London, and they said every Wednesday we listen to you. And I thought, really? All the way in London you do?
Yes.
So I want to send a shout out to Auntie Christine and Tumun today. Thank you for always listening.
Excellent. So, Pearl, we do have a very interesting show today. As most of you may know or may not know, that Saturday is actually World Cancer Day. And we felt it fitting to actually talk a bit about cancer, but not merely the theory of cancer in terms of the medicine, signs and symptoms and all of these as such, but merely to focus on the experience. Most of us in Dominica have known someone who have succumbed to cancer, known someone who is battling cancer or has battled cancer. And we know how difficult it is for most families when there is a member of family who is diagnosed and is suffering or going through the cancer journey. We also know that cancer does take a lot of money in terms of treatments and so forth, and many people end up even sometimes being broke and having to even ask for assistance. And so today I really want all of us to be more sensitive, to really get to our radios and listen to, we have two amazing guests who will share their own experiences with you and with us in terms of, when they were diagnosed, what did that diagnosis mean to them? How did they handle it? The psychological aspect of it, the spiritual aspect of it, the physiological aspect of it. And so, to give every one of us an insight as to the journey and the experience and the stories that cancer people go through. I too have had a sister who died in 2010 of cancer at age 27. So I can tell you too that I have experienced it. So I know my co-host Pearl will give the numbers. It's a good time that some of you may be able to call in and share your own experiences and what it meant, what you went through. So Pearl, if you just want to remind our listeners of the numbers again.
You can call us up on 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, 616-4257, or on the overseas line at 305-432-9624. And I believe that you can join our live streaming. You can go to www.q95da.com and click on the YouTube video stream icon or player where you can actually see us live in studio.
I know we have a caller, but let's just take this call, but then we're going to maybe have to just get into the discussion and afterwards take some more calls. So caller, good morning to you. Okay, so we have, as I said, two very important guests with us who have braved, their own fears and privacy and concerns, and have decided to actually come and share their stories. We have Mr. Neville Graham, a good friend of mine, who is in studio, and we also have Ms. Decima Joseph, who is also a very good friend of mine. Both people I know quite well, and they're going to basically share their stories in terms of what went through with that diagnosis, how they battled it, and how they feared the situation. So we're going to start with Decima. Good morning, Decima.
Good morning, Carlton. Good morning, listeners.
Good
morning.
Great. It's so I'm really happy that you have joined us on Health Vibes today. So just take us through. You were diagnosed in what year?
2016 February.
Okay. So that's kind of recent.
Yeah.
So before the diagnosis, what happened? Did you feel ill, or did you just go to your doctor for a routine?
No, okay. I had the lump like maybe about 4.5 years ago.
Are we talking about a lump in your breast?
Yes. Then I went to do the mammogram. It was showing nothing. Then I went to do another mammogram. Then they said that it's like a lump and it would like go away.
Okay.
So I just put that in the mind that, but eventually it had gotten bigger and it had started kind of like hurting, but not really.
Yeah.
Really. And I was just like, okay, it will go away. Then I had an appointment with a doctor. Then I went to the doctor. Then I had another appointment. She had to go back. Then when I went back, she just maybe decided to just do my whole, checkup and things like that. Then when she reached, she started with the breast and I see something is wrong. So she sent me by doctor. She gave me a paper to go by the doctor, Dr. Thomas. Then when I went by Dr. Thomas, which I went to school with him, he called me a name Aggie.
Right.
He said, look here, something is not right. And then something is not right. I say, okay, something is not right. And he said, but, still kind of give yourself that faith that it is not cancer and things like that. So we went to do the biopsy, and then they went through the biopsy. I stayed a whole week because I had to take a whole week before I got the results.
Yes.
So I got to stay a whole week enjoying myself and freeing up my mind and saying, boy, I have a whole week, I have to. Then when the Friday reached now, I kind of,
get a bit anxious.
Because I didn't really want it to be cancer. So when I went, my daughter went with me, and then when I went, she said, of course it's cancer. I said, oh, Papa met. I say, anyway, I say, what can I do?
So at that stage, he said this to you, and immediately you just accepted the diagnosis.
Because before the results came, I had an idea that it was not good. So I tried to kind of brace up myself. Although I wish that it would have been not cancerous, but when I still brace myself for the bad news. So I went into.
What was your reaction though when you received the diagnosis?
I just kind of laugh, and then she say, okay, well, we'll have to do the biopsy. I say, okay, we'll have to do it, and about the cancer. Okay, when I came from his office, my daughter was outside waiting, so I went. She say, so what happened, mommy? Is everything? I say, no, it's bad. I say, everything is bad, and then she said, it's bad, and you're laughing. I say, yes. What do you think I can do? There's nothing more that I can do. Just learn to accept that, and try to do my treatments and whatever and things so.
Well, let me ask you though, people say, well, boy, if I get this diagnosis, this is how I would react. Did you foretold yourself? Did you ever imagine that you would have taken such a diagnosis that way? Or where did that strength come from at that moment?
Maybe your mind is mine to your mind. I think it's my mind. I didn't make up my mind about, as I go, I went with two different feelings. One is bad and one for the best.
Right.
Yeah, so.
But did you experience any symptoms prior to finding out?
Well, I used to get some like sharp pain, not really, but just sharp pain
in your breast.
Yes, but I would always tell my sister, I have a lump, and the doctor said it will go away. So that is the thing that really kind of put me to that stage where I'm there. Because if they had done something like in the first stage, maybe it would have maybe stage 1 or stage 2.
So what stage were
stage
you
when
you found out? Wow,
stage 3.
Right. Okay, this is like really, really interesting. Let's hear Mr. Graham. Mr. Graham, good morning again. And we are so happy that you have joined us. I actually really happy that a man is here as well, because sometimes we want to almost genderize cancers or certain diseases and think, well, certain diseases are only affecting women, but we do have cancers that affect men.
Yeah, and you know what? It's important to note how brave Mr. Graham is to even come and speak out about it, because most men will refuse to talk about whatever it is that they go through.
Right. So, Mr. Graham, good morning. I want to maybe give us a walkthrough with your own experience.
Yeah, good morning, Carlton, and your co-host here, and good morning to listeners of Radio Q95. Yes, you're quite right. Men are very shy and intimidated about talking about their own experiences of cancer. But the fact about it is, you can either do it to help others and realize that, there's a particular responsibility you have. And I think that's why I'm here. All right. In my experience, the thing about it is my father died of prostate cancer. So I became very, very aware of the fact that I need to be very sensitive to the fact that chances are I may be predisposed to that. And coming out of that experience, I started doing my PSA every year for quite a while, and then it was pretty good. 2 point something, the accepted level. So
yes.
And then I took a break from doing my PSA. And the next time I went back, I took like a 2 or 3 year sabbatical, so to speak.
Yes.
And then when I went back, the doctor told me, at that time, Dr. Paul was managing me. He told me my PSA had gone up to about, from prior years of 2 point something to about 4 point something, 4.2 or 4.3 there. And he said that as a black man, when it gets to that level, you have to be aware.
Yes.
Especially as a black man. And so I went back again and started doing my PSA subsequent to that. And there's a particular lady who shot up to about, from 4.2 they were to about 10.5.
Wow.
Yeah. So we became very concerned about that. And of course, with my excellent and dear wife, we decided, okay, it was time to look at this thing very seriously. And generally, I'm very proactive when it comes to my health.
Yes.
Right? I'm very, very proactive when it comes to my health. I don't take that for granted.
Yeah.
And so my wife and I we had a discussion with Dr. Paul in terms of what's our next move. And so I went to I think it was Medicus, and I did a procedure there, the photograph, whatever they had to do. So, and we were trying to get a sense of whether or not how aggressive the cancer was. So when we looked at it, he decided probably we should do a biopsy at that time, and we knew of a very, as he recommended, a very good doctor in St. Lucia, Dr. Chrissy Daniel. Excellent.
Yeah, I know him.
Excellent. The guy knows his stuff. And we flew over to St. Lucia, had a biopsy, and it came back negative. It said, yes, I was prostate was infected with cancer. There were 2 lobes the cancer was very aggressive in. And of course, some things had to be done. And then we decided what was our next move. In terms of how I felt, I mean, it's cancer and I have to deal with it. Again, my wife was with me. And when you get in that situation, the most important thing is to have family, friends around,
yes,
to have support. And that is why it's so important, when you're challenged medically and otherwise, you need your family support. And for us, most men, we keep this thing a secret.
Yes.
We are scared to discuss it because we are macho and, you're not supposed to. But the thing about it, when you get to that stage, you say, well, you don't get to the frame of mind of, why me? Because if it's not you, who?
Right. Right.
And you wish it on your neighbor. You know what I'm saying? So you have to accept the fact, and then of course, I'm a very spiritual person.
Yes.
And so we just decide whatever the next move is and take this thing very aggressively, very proactive, and then we did what we had to do.
Well, let me ask you though, Mr. Graham, as we're on this and with your diagnosis, we still have so many men who have phobias. They tell themselves they will never have a prostate test done. They don't want any doctor touching them, in that particular area.
Yeah.
And they just tell themselves that. And no matter what their wives would tell them, or their girlfriends would tell them, or their children would tell them, they just adamant that they will not. How do you now, through the experience that you've had, how do you encourage, how do you sell that life and death decision to have the procedure, have your screening done to men?
Yeah, I mean, like I said initially, men are very, they're very, for want of a better word, very secretive about things like that.
Yes.
Cancer, diabetes, and so and so. All right? The judgment call is really yours. And like I said, in terms of who you surround yourself with, your wife, has to know your people who really care about you and your welfare. You understand? Not this, not this environment that continues to, in a very,
Negative.
Not necessarily negative. It's an unrealistic approach to the thing about this macho image and stuff. Because the fact about it is that you get sick.
Yes.
The fact about it, if you don't care, you'll die.
Yes.
It's just not
that's true.
And that's the realist. That's what's real about this mindset and this approach. So my advice is be very proactive. When you're challenged, surround yourself with people who are going to support you, who are going to be there for you, who even when you feel down and when you feel you're challenged, your spirits can be lifted, and because, I know of so many good friends of mine, because of that mentality. By the time they decided they were going to say they had prostate cancer or whatever, it's just too late for them.
Yeah.
It's just too late for them. And my advice is be proactive, because you're human and,
Yes.
we get sick, we get sick. You understand?
Yeah. Did you have to make any lifestyle changes when you found out, as far as your eating habits, exercising? What did you do?
Yeah. Lifestyle changes. The thing about me is that I can go cold turkey in anything. Yeah, if you say this thing is not good for me, that's it. Game over, I'm over, that's it. So, coming out of that experience, I realized that I'd done all my research, and so that going forward, I had to eat foods that were going to keep my body in a very alkaline condition. So a lot of the stuff I used to eat, that's it. I just stopped eating a lot of stuff. Went to a lot of vegetables, fruits, water, constantly exercise. I mean, I still walk for about an hour and a half every day. And I do that every day. I mean, unless I'm unable to do it. But
Yes.
you know, if I don't work for the days, that my days are complete. All right, and have a particular approach. The certain things I just don't eat at all. No Coca-Cola, no anything that will affect the alkalinity of my system.
Yes.
I stay away from it as much as I can. So and that's where I am in terms of my post experience. I was diagnosed in 2009, so it's about 7 years now.
Yes.
And that's where I am.
Spiritually though, I'm very spiritual. What did this mean for you spiritually, and coming out of it, what did you learn from it?
Well, the spiritual aspect of it is that, I mean, you have a God that says he'll never leave you nor forsake you. I mean, you know, he says, cast your cares upon him because his yoke is easy and his burden is light. You know, so this is where you get your strength, because for a lot of us is that we're alone in this thing. You understand? Because the spiritual aspect is totally void. It's not there at all. And chances are the environment is not conducive to helping you. So you're really going through this on your own. And it becomes overwhelming to the point where a lot of us give up.
Yes. I wanted to switch gears a little with Decima though, and talk a little bit about after you've had you've been diagnosed and you had a procedure done and so forth, and doctor says to you, you have to now embark on some treatments. Many people know once you talk about cancer, you're talking about radiation, you're talking about chemotherapy. The reviews on chemotherapy has been really, really hard. Most people think it's like the toughest ever cocktail that any person would have to go through. And you would hear some clients have to go through 6 courses, 8 courses, 12 courses of chemotherapy and sometimes radiation as well. What has it been like? I know that you've said to me that you went through those courses. You did radiation, you did chemo. What was the experience like for people who may not understand what this is? So for example, tell us like what the chemo is. I know that you hooked up to some injectable.
It's in there. They put it in your vein in your hands, and then it's like a liquid. So they have different type of chemo. You have the strong one, you have the mild one, and you have I had to take the strong one, which is the red one. And this one is not the first one I took, it's like 1 day. Second one, I stayed 3 days, like you upset my stomach was. The third one, my head dropped, boom. And the fourth one, my God, a whole week. But one thing, I do not puke. It's just only my stomach.
Just nausea.
Yes, the stomach is just in there, and oh my God. And then when I had to take the fourth one, I went to the doctor and asked him if he could change it to something mild, because it was really. Then he tell me, if you have to take something mild, then you have to do 2. I say I have to do 2. Okay, no, just give me the strong one. And he gave. I know I took it, and then I had to do radiation. But the chemo is not you have to be very, very strong to take that chemo. For your mindset, you have to put your mind has to be, because it's not an easy road to get. It's not easy. Your hair, your smell. Sometimes I used to see like I wouldn't want to go on the transport because your sweat.
Yes.
You sweat, your spittle, your saliva, everything changed. Your head, your everything. It just changed completely.
And I'm glad that you've raised those points, because sometimes for example, someone would have gone for chemo and would get on a bus, and people may want to discriminate on about that person. And so I'm glad that you say that. Again, people must remember that it's very, very toxic medicine that is used to kill cells, bad cells in the body, cancer cells. And so as that process begins to occur, it will take a toll on the body, and the excretion would most likely be a bit tough as well. And so you may have someone who is doing chemotherapy and you visit the person at home and you may recognize, but why are they smelling that particular way? You have to be aware that, again, it's not they that want to smell or the person not cleaning the person that they're taking care of, but because of the type of chemicals, the medicine that is used in the process.
I have a question though. How soon after your diagnosis did you begin chemotherapy?
Maybe about like maybe a month.
Okay.
A month. I did the chemo, 2 of them before I had the breast.
So she had a mastectomy. So she did chemo two cycles before.
Wow.
Before. And then after I did 2.
Because again, it depends on the diagnosis. Some of the diagnosis were because once the doctor recognizes that it's really advanced, they try to immediately begin to intervene.
So if you don't mind me asking, what is your status now?
I did radiation in Guyana, like that's about 2 months ago, and then I had to start next week with 4 more
cycles
of
chemo.
Oh wow! But even after you've had the mastectomy,
yes, because you would recognize too that because of breast cancer in particular, the cells they gravitate very close. The cancer cells can gravitate very close to the lungs and the armpits, and it can even radiate all the way to the forearm. And sometimes you'd find clients who've had breast cancer, their arms get extremely big and it just begins to...
When I was doing the radiation in Guyana, the doctor told me that my arm would have got big, but you see all under there got burned because it's heat. And every day, 5 days a week, you go under the machine, you take like 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes of radiation every day, and I had to take 25 sessions. And I just go through it, and my hands never got, big, and all my tests, all my chemos, everything is going well so far. My hair got dropped. I cut it 3 times, 4 times. As soon as I cut it, it goes back, boom. I got more hair. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, again, too, it's. I think when you get those diagnoses, I remember my sister very well. My sister, when she was diagnosed, she was already stage 4. Her cancer had spread, and but my sister never murmured. She never complained. And I remember friends would be coming to see my sister. She recognized that she had lost so much weight, and she was just giving her clothes away. She was just giving her things away, and she had prepared herself. And she never made, the diagnosis a death sentence. She became aware that, okay, there seemed to be no turning back. The possibilities, I may be going, but guess what? She just concentrated on her God. And I think to every person, I think the journey presents itself differently, and it's how you handle the journey. I think that's what is maybe most likely will define you at the end.
Yeah, and of course. Sorry. And of course, like I said initially, the support around you is very, very, very important, especially when you're challenged, with cancer or whatever, disease or that you're facing. There's the support around you, makes a lot of difference. People who are there for you. As a matter of fact, in my case at one time, there's a situation where my PSA had gone up again, and I had to quickly do some other interventions and so. And the results was that the cancer was now spreading to my pelvic, and that was again became a concern to us, and we had to be even more proactive again. My wife was there with me all the step of the way, and other friends and stuff, and then we had to go to Miami for other intervention and so. So you're going through the experiences. It's challenging, and along the way sometimes it gets a little more difficult, but the mindset is so important. You know, the approach is so key. You know, and you can't feel sorry for yourself.
I know.
You know, you don't go through that feeling sorry for yourself. You go through that feeling that, again, like I said, like me, you know, you have a God, you have the family support, and you just have to deal with it, you know.
Excellent point.
We
Let's
have
take this caller. Good morning, caller. Thanks for
morning.
holding.
Good morning.
Good morning, caller. Thanks for holding.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you. May I speak a little louder, please?
Good morning to you and good morning to your listeners
Yes.
and your guest in studio. But I want to thank Mr. Graham because I know men are very shy when it comes for their health.
Yes.
As I say, sickness and death is for all, and none of us wants to have those kind of implications for ourselves. I want to ask Mr. Graham 2 questions. What age one need to go and check himself, the men, at what age, and what are the symptoms? Because before the cancer, I'm sure he had some symptoms before. Did you feel your body changing, or what was the symptoms? And I'm being told, I'm not sure how true it is, that turmeric and moringa is very good for cancer. But I would like him to answer those 2 questions. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and God bless.
Thank you very much, caller.
Yeah, excellent. They're 2 very good questions, I must admit. At what age? It's suggested that at 40, as a man, at 40, you should really do your PSA as often as you can, right, caller? At 40. Especially if at all you have a history of cancer in your family.
Yes.
Right? You should be extremely proactive, and you should not take that for granted. In my case, like I said, initially my father died of prostate cancer, and then so at 40 it's recommended that you do your PSAs as often as you can. In my case, I was asymptomatic. Only symptoms that are associated with prostate cancer, I felt absolutely none of them. No problem in my waist, no frequent pain, and nothing like that. What actually got me to the point where I knew that I was challenged with prostate cancer is that my PSA. And I had gone back to doing it again because I had taken a break up for about 3 or 4 years. And so that's how I was told that, that I was challenged with prostate cancer. So my advice is that you do it at 40. And for some people, different. Some people, they feel it from day one. The problems in the pains in the waist, they have problems urinating. It's not a very constant flow. It's a kind of drip flow. You may have pain, in that area of your scrotum, and so some people you begin to feel it, but in others like me, I was asymptomatic. Absolutely no prior symptoms.
So as Mr. Graham said, some of the symptoms that you may experience is dysuria, difficulty having urine, blood in the urine can also be presented as well, weight loss, frequent urination, decrease in sperm count, pain in the back, lower back pain, and again, there are some people that are asymptomatic, meaning you will not show no symptoms, but the changes would have begun already in your body. So the important thing is that once you have reached the age of 40, you should begin your screening, and then subsequently your doctor will let you know whether you should have it repeated every 2 years or every year based on what that doctor would have seen. I think we have another caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Hey, blessing.
Good morning to you, my friend. How are you?
I call Mrs. Fountain or Miss Fountain and Mr. Sometimes I forget your name. Anyway, Mr. Lando, blessing.
Yes,
to you.
good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning.
And the lady and the gentleman that is there, let me just empathize with them and wish them more strength.
Yes.
But when you have celebrities, you must think that about a week, because you had an ENT there last week. And one question I wanted to ask: if in the drums you can find some drumstick, but I did not get the chance. I hear there's a part of the body that has a drum. So I was about to ask him if there's a drumstick. But, putting all jokes aside, just quickly, there is a documentary I was watching with a guy who they charged for cultivating marijuana in America, a white guy, and there you have people testifying their status and showing the documents where they once were with cancer and today they're cancer free. You know what they were using, my brother? They were using a paste made out of hemp marijuana. It is black and it is in a little toothpaste. First thing in the morning, last thing in the evening, and they were freed. And I am saying, is it a conspiracy to just kill off the world? Are there cures for cancer and it's just the chosen few that is going to be the ones to benefit from them? Because all that chemotherapy I've been hearing about for years, and the young lady there, the lady there, I want to empathize with her. Not sympathize, but empathize. I want to sympathize with you, Carlton.
Yes.
Even no matter how long it was, you lose, you lost your sister and so on. But really and truly, when you have cancer, all of a sudden you have to stay away from meat, stay away from egg and cheese and milk and many things. They're saying that is feeding that cancer and further the growth of this cancer. They're telling you prevention is better than cure. Why are we not educated on the things that are contributing to these cancers, like our daily intakes of foods and drinks and all of that? Thank you.
Very good point. Very good point.
Very good point. Very good point.
Mr. Graham.
Yeah, and that's why I said, you have to educate yourself, because your doctors, yes, but the ultimate responsibility is yours.
True.
For your health, your spirituality, the ultimate responsibility is yours. All right. So if you're not able to do the research, if you're not able to be, kind of proactive in terms of the net, blah, 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 you need again the support mechanism. So I'm saying that it's important that this gentleman was talking about what to eat, and if you want to continue to fight the cancer, so to speak, and that's not only for people who are challenged with cancer, for everybody, you keep your body in an alkaline condition as much as you can. So the processed foods, the meats, the Coca-Cola, the things that create the acidity in your body, which the cancer loves. You educate yourself about it. And you again now you have a second responsibility now to eat healthy, as much as you can. The vegetables, the fruits, the exercise, and so it's important as much as possible to keep your body in an alkaline position, in an alkaline state. Of course, which helps you to the cancer cells get dormant, and if you get the alkalinity in your body, it's about 8.5 or above. It just does a fantastic job at killing cancer cells.
We have another caller.
Good morning, caller. Thanks for holding.
Yes, thank you. It's me again.
Yes, sir.
Your last caller, they hit the nail right on the head. We have to look at the type of food that we eat, because young people these days is chicken and chips and fried food and so forth. And people no longer or less now make fish broth. We have to look at the things that we take in. For example, the Sprite and the Coke and all those artificial juice there. It's not good for us. Best we drink more water, more coconut water. At my home, my parents, we make beet juice, we make carrot juice, and we take a lot of vegetables. We use parsley and celery, a lot of parsley and celery. Some people, they cook with the parsley and celery. It's good to cook with it. But my parents make salad with the parsley and the celery, a lot of vegetables. We have to watch what we take in our system. And exercise is very important.
Yes.
Exercise. And we have to watch our diet.
Yes, there have been so much research now on some of the causes of cancer, and one of the main variables that seem to be popping up all the time is nutrition. Foods. Just about 2 years ago, actually, the World Health Organization said that they had evidence that processed foods, particularly the sausages, and they are big causes of cancer. And more, we recognize that when we do go to the supermarkets, it's like every other product on the supermarket is in a can, is processed. And sometimes the average consumer will say it leaves them with very little option. What do you do in that case? Are we talking about the frequency? Are we talking about of eating or consuming these foods? Are we talking about the quality of these foods? Are we talking about the shelf lives of these foods? So I do believe that there may need to be more discussions on nutritional components of foods, what is important. Because I remember that I was in Barbados a couple of years ago, and I was in the supermarket with a friend of mine, and it just, Pearl, this just hit me like a rocket in my head. When I looked at a can of corned beef, I said, okay, this corned beef was processed in Argentina. That cow may have been killed 5 years ago. That meat was taken to some other place, was procured, processed, must have been given lots of chemical to remain eatable, so to speak. Then was placed in a can. That can would have been laced with a chemical to prevent rusting from the inside. That chemical most likely is that no good chemical, and then it's placed on the shelf for another 5 years or 4 years. That reality is frightening.
Of course it is. Of course.
Yeah, quite true. And that's why for cancer patients, so you stay away from barbecue as much as you can. Yeah, the smoked meats and the barbecue stuff, they can present a problem for you. All right, so stay away from that as much as you can. And of course, you have to get to the point where you have to get to the point where you read your labels.
Oh yeah.
Whatever you buy in the supermarkets, read your labels for a number of things. In other words, you don't want to get to the point where you figure, hey, look, you have cancer, and then then you're challenged with diabetes because of
right.
You move from from a bad situation to another bad situation. So you read your labels. You try as much as you can to read your labels. And to get the information, like I said, because the ultimate responsibility is yours. All right. So you read your labels. But I want to say too, for a lot of us, the options are very limited in terms of what to eat and what we can buy. You're not in North America, so where you have a tremendous, or Europe, where you have a lot of options, right? And things are relatively cheap. So a lot of us, we're challenged with that, all right? So my advice in a case like that is that it's moderation and discretion. Moderation and discretion. I mean, you don't have to eat corned beef every day. You don't have to drink, you know what I'm saying? Right. Because the fact that we are so limited in terms of options, right? And in a case like that, I would suggest is that you just be mindful of the fact it's discretion. You just use your discretion, because too much of anything is not good.
It's true. We have a caller. Good morning, caller. Thanks for holding.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Not too bad. Good morning, Mr. Lanquidor.
Good morning.
Christian and your two other guests.
Yes.
Yeah, as a herbalist, I just want to lend my little voice, right? Because right now we realize cancer is rampant in Dominica right now, and we call ourselves Nature Isle of the Caribbean. And I believe that doesn't really send a good news for the Caribbean and the rest of the world. So my advice to people, use a lot of roots, like the turmeric roots, the ginger roots, and even we have some plants. There is a herb, I cannot recall the scientific name, but we call it kojoric.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, kojoric is the roots of the kojoric, it's a very good thing for cancer. You mix it with the virgin coconut oil, and turmeric is very, very, very good for cancer. Because right now, I have some cancer patients treating, right now, and the response I've been getting from them is excellent. So my advice to people, even women, even though you doesn't really have breast cancer, but a lady have a right to massage her breast at least 3 times a week, even with like the pure petroleum jelly Vaseline and stuff like that, because prevention is better than cure, and there's a saying that goes like that: a stitch in time save knife. So and all those imported things that we are using, those tin soft, those meats and stuff like that, those things are contributing towards the cancer cells, because the cells, everybody have the cells in them, and based on what you eat, it could fit that cells. So we have to consume more local stuff like our coconut oil, as I said.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, caller.
Okay.
Before I know we don't have much. I really wanted to focus a little though on the finance of cancer. I know that it's an area that really affects many people. I mean, not very long. There was an article on the newspaper from a well-known prominent Dominican who literally said that cancer broke him. I mean, it just took every money that he had saved. Like, for example, I'm sorry, you went to Guyana, you did radiation. How expensive was that? Were you, I mean, did it, per session? Like, do you spend? Are you charged per session? You know, so just to maybe give us an idea.
Okay. Going to Guyana to do radiation alone is like about $17,000. The medication itself is $10,000. The medication itself, but then when you go in, you have to have money to eat. You have to do your blood tests. You have to buy your lights. You have to pay the house you go into. So it's very expensive. And here you have to buy your chemo. You have to buy you have to take your blood test. You have to take your mammogram. You have to take all kind of tests. So yes, it's very expensive.
Because I mean, just on what you've said, that already the chemo just that took for Guyana, that was $27,000 already there, and not taking into consideration the other expenses.
You have to have, yes. And I would like to really take this opportunity now to really thank the people and Jollies, like everybody. They are my friends, and they every day go to work, you're okay, and you have that support from them. Even Carlton, every day I get a hug from Carlton and a touch from Carlton. But I really like to thanks the people that really donate to me going to make it to Guyana. And I really like to say thank you very much.
Great.
Yes.
Right. Mr. Graham, I think you wanted to comment on the expenses.
Mr. Graham was kind of making the money sign in his hands.
You're right. All I can do is that. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. In my case, probably close to like $75,000. It's a lot of money. All right. So it's expensive. All right. And again, that's where you need the support. Because a lot of us,
and I mean,
we need friends come in and family members.
Yeah,
So
I think I've walked through Roseau, particularly on Saturdays, and I've seen the Dominica Cancer Society many times. Their partners, their members are asking people to donate, and many times people walk by street, and you just say, well, you don't have time, or that's just another cause. But really, I really want us as a nation to recognize that you never know. You never know. I mean, it was very, very expensive for us too when my sister was ill with cancer. She lived almost a year, maybe about 11 months after her diagnosis, and it wasn't cheap. We had to buy oxygen while she was home. Every 2 days, an oxygen tank was like $197 from I forgot the people's name in Kenville. It's expensive, and so I really want to plead to us Dominicans to lend our support to the Dominica Cancer Society. They do help a lot in making sure that people leave Dominica and to go to Guyana. That's one of the Caribbean islands where radiation is more affordable, and so that people can actually get the treatment, because the average person doesn't have that kind of money on their own, and they need our support. So whenever you see the crew out there, find a way to give them something. Even if it's $10, you may have some money. Find a way to stop and donate, because this is the donation that has helped and will continue to help many, many of us, as whether it's our loved ones, we go through the journey of cancer.
Yes, Calvin, I just want to kind of lend support to the point you made about the Cancer Society. I used to be a very active member in the Cancer Society, all right? And I'm still a member, but I'm not very active, and they do an excellent job.
Yes.
I really want to encourage the present executive now to, they're doing a very, 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 very good job in terms of, the kind of things you're talking about, mobilizing. They do a walk every year, I think, and just again to raise the money so that those of us, of us who are not financially, how you call that?
Yes.
Able, so to speak. They come in and they fill the gap and they support. So I really, really want to say they do an excellent job, and I just want to encourage this present executive, to continue to doing what they're doing, because they really do a good job.
And let me just say as well, I mean, some of you may not know about the association, you may not know of its location. If you are listening to Health Vibes like you usually do on a Wednesday, and you want to make a donation to the Dominica Cancer Society, feel free to drop that money across to me at Jolly's Pharmacy. Feel free to stop by. I will actually ensure that they get the money. It just so happened the last time when the president was here, I had decided to embark on a fundraising drive at Jolly's.
That's right.
It just came up to me and said, you know what, let me go around and ask every staff to donate not less than $5 to the Dominica Cancer Society. And it just so happened that one of our staff was ill, and we donated the money. I called the president and I said, I have this money here. Do I give it to you, or should I give it to the member of staff who had to go abroad? And she said, well, it's all in line with our association, donate it to the person. And so it's important. So even if companies can actually go on those drives as well, ask their staff to donate a $5 or $10 to the cause, and actually easily find Miss Giddens, Nurse Alison Samuel, who is at the HIV office. She's very, very much active in the association. You have Vina Rowe in St. Joseph. We have some very good people who do real good work. And so if you are in the vicinity of Roseau and you want, to drop by and donate some monies to the association, I will gladly accept that monies on their behalf. Decima, in closing, I don't know if you want to say anything to our listeners, to other people who might be suffering with cancer. What word of encouragement would you give to them and to their families as well? Because it affects the entire family too.
Yeah. You just have to just be strong. You just have to just be strong and just live day. I learned in Guyana that every day you get up, you live the day as the best that you can make.
Right.
And then it's like sometimes you will get depressed, because living in cancer is not an easy thing.
True.
To know that you have cancer and you have to be living with cancer, but you have to just put that behind you. And anytime you do get depressed, do anything that you like to do. If you like to shop, you go shop. If you like to drink something, you go. Anything that you just live the day. Every day you live the day like there's no other day.
Yes.
And another thing is, like, some people, when they do get the cancer, they do not like to go and take the chemo, but the chemo helps. So what you can do, take your chemo, and then after, if you want to drink your bush tea, you drink your, but make sure it is not an easy thing to go through, but then you just try, take the chemo, and then after that you can drink any bush tea, but the chemo helps.
Okay. Mr. Graham?
I'm going to be very, kind of short. My encouragement for, or my last parting words are, especially for men, take your health very seriously. Be proactive. Do not, take this situation, for granted. Surround yourself with people who are very positive, especially when you're challenged with whatever illness or whatever you're challenged with, and they be very, very, for too long, men have sort of have had this macho image, and you don't want to do this and they don't want to do that, and so on, so on, so. But again, that's your judgment call. But my words, my parting words are that you be very, very proactive with your health.
Excellent. And I also want to say, though, on Saturday is World Cancer Day. I know it's the opening of Carnival to many people, and many people will be in Roseau. But even if it's in the morning aspect, the parade starts in the afternoon, you really want to take a minute of, make your own personal minute of silence for the many, many people who have succumbed to cancer, and say a prayer for the many people who are suffering with cancer and their families. And, you can even light a candle, in memory or in recognition to cancer, and the many, many people who are going through the tough journey of battling cancer. It is a true testimony of mine. I know what it is. It's been difficult. It can be very difficult to really see your family member totally get wasted, because cancer can really waste you and make you look like a completely different person until to death. And so I really want to lend my support out there to the many, many people in Dominica, the Caribbean, the wider world who is experiencing cancer at this time. Be strong. Remember that God does all things well, irrespective of how your emotions may make you feel, but He does all things well. Mm-hmm. And I believe that there is nothing that He cannot do for you. And sometimes I am of the belief as well that death sometimes is the ultimate medicine. It takes away every pain, all anguish, and it saves sometimes families thousands of dollars that could have been wasted unnecessarily. So sometimes, we have to look at things from other angles to bring encouragement and courage and comfort to our painful souls or hearts, as it were. Pearl?
I'd like to thank Mr. Graham and Miss Joseph for being here today and sharing their stories. I was, quite quiet and just very reflective, and I hope that our listeners were doing the same, because the responsibility is on us to take care of our health and our bodies, our mental state, physically, spiritually, emotionally. It's the responsibility is ours. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think that we should take anything that was shared here today lightly or for granted. Mm-hmm. And so my deepest thanks to both of you for being here today.
Welcome.
All right, Dominica, here you have it. Another episode of Health Vibes. We are so happy that you joined us today. Take care of yourself. Go out and do something positive. Bye-bye.
You were listening to Health Vibes, a production of Jolly's Pharmacy Limited.
This is done. They can see God face. Look at how they come and ransack me place.